What if you isn't fully you? Everything you see, everything you hear, everything you touch, everything you believe is not really you. What if I told you that the world you experience every day is not the real world you think it is? Not even close. What if your thoughts, your memories, your beliefs, your very identity itself is just another constructed illusion? Hi, I'm Jay and you're watching The Curious Explorer, the channel where we peel back the layers of psychology, neuroscience, and curiosity. Tonight we'll pull back the hidden mechanisms shaping your mind, your perception, and your reality. This is the dark illusion of you, the dream you call real. What if everything you think is real, your memories, your identity, your beliefs, your perception of time and self? It isn't a window into reality, but a carefully crafted hallucination, because what you call reality may just be the illusion your brain refuses to wake up from, and if your brain can edit what you see, what else is it editing? Your memories, your identity, your sense of self. Let's find out next. Before we dive deeper, here's a quick recap, just in case you missed my last video, Can You Trust Your Own Mind? In that episode, we uncovered a disturbing truth. Your brain does not show you reality. It shows you a version of reality it thinks you can handle, so go check it out if you haven't yet. Now, keep this in mind. Your brain is constantly drowning in information from all directions, not just from what you see, but from what you don't. Every millisecond, every second, 11 million bits of sensory data flood your nervous system from sounds, colors, motion, texture, temperature, a storm of raw chaos your conscious mind will never notice. Sounds like a process overload, right? But the conscious mind can only handle about 40 bits out of 11 million. Let that sink in for a sec or two. Your entire reality is built on 0.04% of what's actually happening. So what happens to the other remaining bits? Your brain deletes it. Your brain discards 99.9996% of it and shows you only a tiny fraction of it. Sounds mind-blowing, right? Silently, automatically, without asking your permission. Not because it's useless, but because your brain decides it's not relevant to the story it's telling you. Meaning this isn't your reality, and it's your brain's edited simulation of it. You don't see the world as it truly is. You're seeing a compressed, simplified, survival-friendly illusion stitched together from fragments your mind finds convenient like a puzzle. So, sounds insane and unbelievable? Right. This isn't speculation or some abstract theory, this is hard neuroscience. Peer-reviewed cognitive science research from Harvard psychologist George Miller's pioneering work on attention capacity first reveals something unsettling. You're not living in the full spectrum of reality, you're living inside a compressed hallucination, optimized not for truth, but for survival. You call it reality, your brain calls it manageable fiction. You felt this before when you zoned out mid-conversation and didn't even realize it. That's your brain is not showing you reality, it is showing you just enough to keep you functioning, surviving, and believing the illusion is real. Because if you truly saw everything, the full chaos of unfiltered reality, your mind would fracture under its weight. Have you ever actually seen reality at all? Or only what your brain allows you to see? Every second you're alive, your brain is generating a hallucination. Not symbolically, not spiritually, but literally. This isn't philosophy, this is neuroscience. In my last video, I mentioned neuroscientist Anil Seth, the one who famously said reality is a controlled hallucination. Not because the world isn't real, but because your brain is fabricating the version of it you're allowed to experience. Anil Seth famously said, "We don't passively perceive the world, we actively create it, not metaphorically, literally, not because reality is fake, but because your brain doesn't actually know what's out there." Your brain only receives electrical impulses, vibration patterns, and chemical signal, and from that chaos it constructs the illusion you call reality, which is all based on your input of memories, beliefs, fears, and expectations. How fucking insane is that? And here's the insane part: since your brain is so certain of its own predictions that when the real world doesn't match, it quietly overwrites the truth. It edits your reality in the background, silently, seamlessly, so you never notice the correction or the lie. You're seeing your mind's personal interpretation of it, a private version of reality built from your pain, suffering, and struggle. This is why someone with different beliefs doesn't just think differently. Their brain creates a different world for them to live in. You can believe a memory with absolute certainty, even if it never happened. Eyewitnesses can swear they are telling the truth, and yet they are wrong. Every conviction, every detail they recall is filtered through a brain that doesn't record reality, it fabricates it. Even two people can look at the same event and walk away with two different versions of what they saw. This is known scientifically as predictive processing, one of the leading theories in cognitive neuroscience about how perception works. Your brain is constantly predicting the world first and only checking the incoming sensory data afterward. A 2017 study in Nature Neuroscience showed that the brain's visual cortex fires before sensory input fully arrives, meaning your brain is predicting the image before you actually see it, not what your eyes detect. This means perception is prediction, vision is feedback. So here's the disturbing truth. When your brain predicts the world and the prediction matches what other people's brains predict, we call that reality. When they don't, you call it an illusion, dream, delusion, or hallucination. But both are created in the same place. Inside the mind will your mind. And here's another twist. This means you are never directly in contact with the world. Everything you ever seen, heard, touched, loved, feared has happened inside of you within the simulation of your brain. Sounds insane, right? We think waking up means returning to something real. Dreaming and waking are just simply two modes of the same hallucination engine. So if your world is a hallucination and we just pretending, then we must ask something much, much darker. What about you? Are you just running on an autopilot illusion? Then are you really the one watching this video right now, or the self you believe in is watching? Now we step into the deepest illusion of all, the illusion of the self. You think you know who you are. Every decision, every desire, every fear, all of it belongs to you, right? The I you believe you are, your personality, your identity, your story feels stable, continuous, real. Neuroscience says you're wrong. The self is an illusion. A narrative stitched together by neurons, constantly rewritten, constantly edited. There is no central you, only a complex pattern pretending it exists. Your brain generates a sense of self to predict and control the world, but every thought you label as me is nothing more than electrical signals firing in patterns, feeding an internal story. Sounds insane, right? Your identity is never fixed. It shifts constantly depending on your environment, your emotional state, the memories your brain can access in that moment, the people you're with. You are not the same person in every situation, and that alone tells us something profound. It reveals a truth most of us never dare to confront. The self you think is constant is nothing more than a fragile pattern, a projection your brain convinces you is real. Self is not stable. Self is adaptive. Your brain constructs your identity in real time, moment by moment. A story that provides continuity where none actually exists. This is supported by brain imaging research at MIT, published in Nature Neuroscience, which shows that the default mode network, DMN, the brain system active when you reflect on yourself with continuously links like your past experiences, your present context, and your imagined futures to create the illusion of a unified you. The I that you feel is literally the brain predicting a coherent story about you. Neuroscientist Michael Gazzaniga called this the interpreter, which describes the brain's left hemisphere as an interpreter. It constantly fabricates explanations to maintain a cohesive sense of self, even when events are random or contradictory or even wrong. Sounds insane, right? The right hemisphere is called the silent observer, which it provides your experiences, it perceives, it feels, it detects patterns, it understands context, emotion, intention, spatial awareness of you. Not lying, not confused, just creating meaning where there wasn't any. Your brain must maintain a sense of I, even if it has to fabricate it. This means the self is not a commander, the self is a narrator. Do you feel identical to who you were yesterday? Don't worry, I'll wait. Probably not. Your identity evolves, sometimes slowly, sometimes all at once. A relationship changes you. A loss transforms you. A single idea can shift your worldview. Your self is not a fixed shape, it is a moving story. Philosophers like David Hume saw this centuries ago. He wrote that whenever he searched for a permanent self, he found only passing experience, never a solid core. I never can catch myself at any time without a perception, and never can observe anything but the perception. Modern neuroscience agrees. In deep meditation, when attention stops feeding the narrative of self, the brain's default mode network, the DMN, falls silent. Without its constant chatter, the story of you fades. Not mystical, not supernatural, just perception without the story of me layered over it. People report a state of awareness stripped of identity, a presence without a narrator, a consciousness unclaimed by ego. For a fleeting moment, the illusion cracks, and the machinery behind who you think you are laid bare. So here's the realization. Self is not the driver, not a prison. Self is the narrative, a tool. Your limitations, I can't. I'm just like this. This is who I am. None of it is true. These are predictions, assumptions, stories your brain repeats to maintain stability, to convince you that the fragile narrative of self is consistent. Every time you say it, you are rehearsing a lie your neurons made for you. You are not who you were yesterday. You are not who you will be tomorrow. You are being rewritten constantly every day. So now the real question becomes, if the self is just a story or illusion, who's reading it? And what happens if you stop identifying with the story? Could reality itself feel different? Now let's go even deeper. Beyond the self, beyond memory, beyond perception. What about consciousness itself? The part of you that feels like it's watching it all unfold, the part that thinks it's in control, who or what is experiencing reality. But neuroscience asks a darker question. Are you truly the witness, or is witnessing just another illusion, another story your brain tells itself to survive? Philosophers and neuroscientists have debated this for centuries. Daniel Dennett calls consciousness a user illusion, a virtual reality your brain generates to manage all processes at once. David Chalmers calls it the hard problem of consciousness, and asking why subjective living exists like a machine, silently processing data. Even Benjamin Libet's experiments in the 1980s demonstrated that the brain initiates action before conscious awareness, meaning your sense of free will is often post hoc. The brain rationalizes choices after the fact. Your body moves first, your brain explains it after. Your consciousness thinks it is in charge, but might just be the storyteller explaining the autopilot brain of you. And here's the kicker, your sense of being you might itself be another illusion of you. Sounds crazy, right? Neuroscientists have shown that your brain makes decisions before you ever become aware of them. fMRI scans show the default mode network, the region responsible for your inner narrative, goes quiet. Your consciousness is not the driver, it's the commentator, a narrator late to the scene, pretending it's in control. Meditation and mindfulness experiments reinforce this. When experienced meditators silence the mind, something terrifying happens. The sense of I disappears. What's even more unsettling is that electrical stimulation of specific brain regions or specific cortical zones can make you feel like you left your body, or make you believe there are two of you watching, or even erase the observer entirely, meaning the witness you think is permanent can be switched off like a light. Some neuroscientists now propose something radical. The self is a hallucination your brain generates. And because you never see the illusion being created, you mistake it for truth. How mind-blowing is that? Philosophers and neuroscientists Metzinger, Seth, now argue the self is a transparent model your brain runs. When that model's transparency is broken by meditation, trauma, or targeted brain stimulation, the illusion peels back and you get a glimpse of raw experience that has no narrator. Your consciousness is a story the brain tells itself so convincingly you forget it's a story. So the question is no longer what is consciousness, The question is, who or what are you when the story stops? If the self is a hallucination, then what holds your entire identity together? But what if memory lies? We've explored the narrator on how your brain constructs a narrative, but now we reach the foundation of that story. Memory, well, your memory. Memory feels solid, reliable, real, solid, concrete, a permanent record of life, will your life. But neuroscience tells a very different story. The truth is, memory is not a recording. It's just a reconstruction story your brain rewrites every time you recall it. Shocking surprise, right? Neuroscience shows that every act of remembering alters the memory itself. This is called memory reconsolidation, studied extensively by Joseph Ledoux and Elizabeth Loftus, pioneers in memory research. Loftus's famous Lost in the Mall experiments revealed something astonishing. People can vividly remember events that never happened. Your confidence in a memory does not equal its truth. Eyewitness testimony, often unreliable. In fact, just over 70% of wrongful convictions in the U.S. involve mistaken memories, and it's not just extreme cases. Even your everyday recollections are fluid, shaped by when you recall a conversation, your current mood, your beliefs, your expectations. Every memory is edited, patched, reconstructed, like software being updated again and again and again. We all know how that goes about patching software. Your memory is likely more story than fact, rewritten to make sense of your life as your brain tells it now. Sounds unbelievable, right? But here's where it becomes personal. Memory doesn't just recall events, it builds your identity as well. It constructs your identity, your sense of continuity, and the self you trust. It literally crafts the narrative you call you. Every memory is a thread in the illusion of you, and if those threads are edited, so is your self-perception of you. Memory rebuilds it from scattered neural fragments, like assembling a puzzle from pieces that never perfectly fit. Shocking, right? Your brain can store the emotion of an event even when the event itself is gone. You can feel grief, fear, love, or guilt for something that never happened, all because you believed it was real. Think about it. The arguments, the hurt you still carry, the joy. Are you feeling what actually happened, or what your brain has rewritten, edited, and reconstructed? Memory is not a mirror, it's a hall of mirrors, a reflection of your brain's story, not the world's truth. And if the foundation of you is built on these shifting memories, then what does that say about the you trust every day? Everything you thought while watching, controlling, deciding might be nothing more than a hallucination your brain believes is real. The witness in your head can be manufactured or reassigned. Then ask yourself, which version of you is watching this video right now? If this video opened your mind, if you felt something shift, share it with someone who's ready to wake up and see differently. Like the video, comment, and share this video with someone who needs to wake up to their own awareness. Subscribe to the channel for more deep journeys into consciousness, psychology, reality, and the mysteries of you. Thanks for watching. I'm Jay, and I'll see you next time on The Curious Explorer. Because this is only the beginning.